If you believe every victim deserves to be remembered and every truth deserves to be told, subscribe to the Crime Narrator. These stories live on because you're here to hear them.
Before the world knew his name, she already did. Nicole Kessinger wasn't just a bystander in the Chris Watts case. She was a voice behind closed doors, a presence in the shadows of a life that was about to collapse. For years, her words were dissected, her motives questioned, her silence louder than any confession. Was she manipulated? Was she naive? Or was she closer to the truth than she ever admitted? This interview isn't about rumors. It's not about internet theories. It's about what she chose to say and what she didn't. Listen closely to her tone. Watch the pauses. Notice the moments where the story hesitates. Because sometimes, the most revealing evidence isn't found in police files. It's hidden in a person's own words. This is Nicole Kessinger in her own voice. And this is the Crime Narrator.
I just turned the recorder. Okay. So again, this room is recorded, and video and audio. We introduced ourselves in the lobbies and earlier, so we're just going to do that again real quick. My name is Kevin Kovac. I'm with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and we're assisting the Frederick Police Department with this case involving Chris Watts. And this is Tim Martinez, also an agent at CBI. Sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Dwayne Kessinger. I'm Nicole's father.
Dwayne, what's your birthday?
November 3rd, 1958.
And home address for you, sir?
8801 West 65th Avenue.
What city?
And that's Arvada, 8004.
And a cell phone or a home phone, or where?
720-982-4547.
Thank you. And Nicole, can you just introduce yourself for the recording?
Nicole Kessinger. Do you need all the other stuff too?
Yes, please.
I live at 12255 Claude Court, Unit 612. Phone number 720-656-9605.
Claude Court, is that? I think we determined it was North Glen, right?
Yes.
You know your zip code?
80241.
Okay. Can you speak up just a little bit so the recorder? I know you're tired and you're stressed, and we won't be here any longer than we have to be. You've already had a conversation with people before. You came here on your own free will to talk to us. We picked you up at your request and brought you here. You can get up and leave at any time. You don't have to talk to us. If there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. If you don't want to talk anymore, just tell me I want to leave. And I'm kind of in the way of the door, but you're not being interrogated as a criminal suspect. We're here to understand your relationship with Chris and what you know about Chris and his family, and events relating to Chris Watts. And do you know him as Chris or Christopher?
Either one.
Okay. So the phone number that you reached him on, can you tell me what that number was?
I think I deleted that out of my phone too. I just cut him out of my life. It's a 910 number. You guys have it.
We gave it to Mark yesterday.
Yeah, I probably have it, but just in case.
I don't have it
If
anymore.
I recited it to you, would you know it?
Just the first three numbers.
But you know it as a 910 number?
Yes, that's what I do know. I mean, that's what I got.
North Carolina or something.
Yeah, North Carolina. Okay. So let's just start with a timeline of your getting to know Chris, how you guys met, where you met, all those things. And let's just run. And I'm not going to ask you specific questions unless I think it's necessary. I'll let you just tell me your story. I think it's a little bit easier that way. So I just want to know how you met him, where you met him, how long you guys were dating, and those kind of things initially.
Okay. I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was like right around Father's Day too. So whenever that is in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not good with holidays.
He told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after that. So that's what I do now. And I was like, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those 2 were in the process of a separation.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick, but to be honest with you, on an exact date of when that happened, I don't know.
So in May and June, first of all, where do you work?
I work at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. I'm contracted to Anadarko Petroleum Corporation
Okay, and you work out of an office setting where?
in Platteville, Colorado.
Okay. And Chris also works out of that location, per
Yes.
se.
Yes. He's in the field, but he comes into the office with his team.
So you work, what is your job responsibility?
I do health, safety, and environment.
Okay, so you work in the office and you take care of health safety for, Anadarko is an oil and gas company, right?
Yes.
So you're doing health safety in the office and Chris works in the field
Yes.
as a, what kind of job does he do?
He's an operator, so I don't know like all of his daily duties, but he's a field operator, so he works with like the oil wells.
So he goes out and does work on those, whatever
Yes.
that work might be. But he comes into the office frequent.
In the
or-
mornings, his team meets in the mornings. They're not all in there every day. Some days some of them are in there, some days other ones are in there, but in the mornings typically from like 6:15 to probably 7, somewhere around there.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other?
I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry like gas monitor sensors for toxic gases, and it's my job to control the inventory, any issues, anything like that. And we were having some pretty serious like equipment issues, and we had numerous amounts of people coming in my office one day, and he happened to be one of them. And I'd seen him before, like they meet in the lunchroom, and that's where I go put my lunch in the fridge. So I'd seen him, but I didn't ever like talk to him. So that day we just started talking, and then every time I saw him in the hallway after that, and it was always hit or miss, like it wasn't an everyday thing, it was just when I saw him, we just started talking, and we just kind of had a lot in common and just hit it off, so we'd always have, pretty good conversations, and then, I don't know, one day he told me that he had kids and started talking about his kids, and then mentioned, yes, that I have a wife, but we're getting separated. I said, okay. And then
When do you think that was?
when he said all that,
So specifically when he told you he was getting separated from his wife, was that within the first couple of weeks that you knew him, or was that later on? You said you met him around May or June.
yeah, it was still in June.
Okay.
It would have been before Father's Day.
So had you guys ever gone out on any kind of
No.
date at that time? You just
No,
were
no.
conversing at work?
Yeah, that's all it was. And then, I don't know. We started hanging out. We hung out. We went to a park. Hung out at a park.
Let's go back real quick. So why did he tell you that he was getting a divorce? Did he ask you out at that time?
No, he didn't. I think he was probably interested in me. And so, he talked to me a couple times via his work phone, and I was like, no. Like, it was still very, like, friendly conversation. But then when I realized, like, this man is interested in me, I'm interested in him, this is personal, so we got away from the Anadarko thing because I really don't want those guys affiliated with any of this. And
So you have a work phone that's specifically...
no, I have one phone that I do both on. He has 2 phones.
Okay, so Your phone, the 720-656.
That's the only number that I roll with all the time.
Okay.
So he has 2 phones.
All right. One of those owned by Anadarko and
Yes,
one
sir.
personal.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what his Anadarko phone number was? Okay.
It's been so long, and I mean, I'm sure I could like look it up, but I tried to look it up for those guys yesterday, and I couldn't find it.
Okay. We can find it. That's okay. Just wondering if you knew it.
But at that point, we just like took it to his phone because I just felt it was like better that way. And we just continued to talk, and then
Let me go back to the park. Where's the park?
it's like down the street from my house. It's called East Lake Number 3.
Your house
Yes.
in North Glen?
Yes.
And that was in the June time frame.
Yeah, or like the beginning of July. It was like right around my birthday. It's like so sometime at the very end of June or the beginning of July.
Okay. And that's the first meeting you had outside of work.
Yeah.
The basic conversation for a first date?
I mean, we kept it pretty simple, I guess, you know. I don't even remember everything we talked about. We
Sure.
were there for a few hours. But
Understand my... So if I ask about conversation, what I'm looking for, was he talking about his family during any of these meetings? Those are the kind of... I understand, whatever you guys were talking about, relationship, your life, your interests, those things, we don't need to know that. What I'm interested in is knowing is when he brings up his children, when he brings up his wife, when he brings up financial information, when he brings up his home, when he brings up anything that may have been, and it's been a few days, so you've had a chance to reflect on some articles that you may have read, and you know, unfortunately, that you're in a situation where somebody has been murdered. And that information, when you look backwards in your memory with the conversations with Chris, anything that he might have said that would be relative to that, and I'm not just, even if one day he was mad and he said, I want to do this or do that, anything like that. If he ever made any kind of statements that you were like, whoa, that was weird, or why would he say that, or why did he mention that? Do you understand what I'm
no,
looking
I
for?
completely understand. I just feel like some of this happened so long ago that I can't tell you like the exact words of the exact conversation at the exact time and
Sure.
place, because it's like we had a lot of conversations. I mean, we talked every single day. So it's
So if there's
like
a-
I'm trying to help you guys with the stuff like the stuff that's more current. I can give you guys a lot more like detail and exact times. But when you're asking me about something that happened 6 weeks ago and exactly what was said, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I can give you a general idea, but to be honest with you, like to pinpoint exact words, it's not going to happen.
I'm not looking for exact words, just more, let's say 6 weeks ago he said something that triggered with you last night. That's what I'd be looking for. Or something 4 weeks ago. And if you don't remember where it was or the specific words, that doesn't matter. Just he said something that was off the wall, or he said this or he said that, that has caused you a moment to pause and you go, wow, I wonder why he said that. Now knowing what you know today. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
I completely understand. And to be honest with you, I mean, there were several discussions that we had about his current relationship and where it had gone and what it had caused. And he talked about his kids from time to time. But the thing is he was never hostile. It was never anything aggressive. Like even when he spoke of his wife and the fact that they were separating, it was never like ill. It was still very kind. It was just like, this is not working, and would explain why, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary or anything that I think would scare me. And to this day, even after everything that I found out, I still look back at that and I don't see any red lights with the way that he spoke of his family.
Okay. Can you just describe his overall demeanor over the 8, 10, 12 weeks that you guys knew each other?
It wasn't that long. It was like 6 weeks that we were hanging out. Well, I guess we knew each other longer.
Okay, but you met him in the office, and just his overall persona, who was he aggressive? Was he mellow? Was he calm? Was he outspoken? Who was Chris?
I think he's an introvert. I would consider him to be like a pretty I don't want to say he's a very reserved individual. I think he's probably more reserved around other people. I think he emphasized to me that one of the reasons that he really enjoyed talking to me is because if he felt like he could get out of his shell. He said around most people he just like didn't really feel the need to like talk and converse, and it wasn't just in his home life, just in general. It wasn't something where he's an introvert. And he said with me, it made him feel like he could really just start talking about things that excited him. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had things in common. So with me, I think he was a little bit more outgoing, but even then, I would still consider him to be an introvert. I mean, not on the extreme end. If an introvert went to like 1 to 10, I'd put him at like a 4 or 5. So on the lighter side of introversion.
Pretty even-keeled.
Yes, like really relaxed, like all the time. He was never really like worked up about anything, just
mellow,
chill,
easygoing guy.
Very much.
Okay. And he was that way with you. Did he ever have any kind of? Did you guys ever have arguments? I mean,
No.
Pretty short relationship. No arguments during that time.
No.
Did he ever lose his temper at any time?
Never.
You guys never had a yelling match.
No.
So you never saw him upset or mad.
No. And there was a couple times that we had some disagreements on things that as we like further progressed into this story, but it was never like, I am very calm when I talk to people. It's like extremely rational when I handle situations that there's a disagreement in, and he always was the exact same way. Like always. Like I never stressed anything. I think one thing that actually kind of drew me to him was the fact that he was like very open with communicating with me if there were any like differences on how we saw things or just like open-minded about things. It was actually, I personally thought it was kind of unique because usually most of the men that I've ever met are typically very closed off, and I didn't get that from him at all. But it was always like kind, very kind.
So no sense that this guy had a temper or
Not at
was aggressive, or he never lost his mind and yelled and said crazy stuff or anything like that. Okay.
No.
So can we just kind of go back to your relationship? You say you guys had a lot in common. What was that?
Oh, I mean, like, we were both really into fitness. I think that's important. It's a lifestyle. Both of us ate pretty healthy, so I think that was important as well. He's like a total gearhead. He likes cars a lot, and I don't know nearly as much about them, but it's always been something that I've been pretty interested in, so we definitely talk about stuff like that. And I guess he was always willing to like learn new stuff, and vice versa. Like I like to travel a lot, and it's not something that he's done a lot, but he seemed like really interested in what I had to share with him, and vice versa. So even if it wasn't something that we originally had in common together, it was just like, hey, I respect what you have to say, and vice versa.
So you guys just yin and yang. You got along pretty well.
Very well.
And no time, he never gave you any indication that
None.
that he was having issues. So during your guys' dating time, did you guys spend most of the time at your place?
Always.
Okay, always at your place.
Or we'd go out, but I told Mark yesterday, he asked me if I went over there, and I told him about one time that I went over to that house. I've been to that house twice, but it was very, very brief, and it was not like an extended stay. I did not feel comfortable there, or like, I just didn't want to be there. It's not my life. Like, that is somebody else's life and somebody else's existence, and I respect that. That's their space. And so I used to tell him, well, come to my house because this is our space. This is my space. And so for me, out of respect just for like whatever situation he had going on and the fact that it's not my home, I felt that it was better to be in my place. And I live alone. I don't have any roommates or anything, so it's pretty easy to do that.
So during June and July, were you aware that his family was not his? Did you meet his children?
Nope.
During
Didn't want
June
to.
and July.
And he didn't ask me to.
Okay.
I mean, not that I didn't want to ever. It was just not now. It's like you're not finalized with your separation, and not only that, we've barely been dating. Like, you can't introduce kids to somebody new in a situation like that. That's something that takes time. I mean, would I have liked to have met them? Of course. That would have been a great honor for me to have somebody introduce their children into my life, and but not then. It was something that it was like, okay, well, let's see where we're at in 6 months. Let's see where we're at in a year. And if we're still doing this and you and me are still, happy with where we're at and you think that this is something that is going to be long term and is worth bringing your children into the picture, then yes, I would love to meet them. But it's like, not right now. You are still in this situation where you're not even completely out of it, and I'm getting in it, and that's not fair for them. And that was kind of the policy that I had with him, was it was just like, yes, but not yet.
So did he ask to introduce you to his children?
Not at that time.
Okay.
I think both him and I were on the same page of eventually, if things went as they should in
I understand you guys'
relationship.
relationship is very new and young.
Yeah.
So, although it was short, just laying everything out helps us understand what actually was going on with him. And
Yep.
I might ask you a question and you're going, why the heck would he ask me that? Probably because I have information that I'm not willing to share with you, and I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to tell you. Some questions I'm going to ask you, and you go, what the heck? I won't share some information with you. Just, it protects you, it protects our investigation. So if it seems weird, there's a reason I'm asking it,
That's
and
fine.
it's usually relative to what I know. So don't take offense to it. Again, it's just part of what we need to know.
Understood.
So just, you went to his house on 2 occasions.
Yes.
Was that recent?
No, that was like pretty early into it, and I did not like it and did not want to go back.
Do you recall where the house was?
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. And you know the streets?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No.
Okay.
I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay. Did it look like anybody else lived at that house at that
Oh,
time?
definitely.
Okay.
I mean,
So is that what freaked you out?
I mean, he told me that he was living in the basement, and he said, we're separated, but we're not divorced, and we're going to get ready to sell the house. And that was the impression that I was under. And I was under the impression that they were taking everything pretty slow with this, with like getting ready to sell the house. I mean, those are big things. So that's what I was informed. And I mean, if you think about it, this whole thing happened in a 6-week stretch. Like, that's not really that much of a time frame. So in that sense, like, it's believable to me. Yes, I went to the house, and the first time I was there, I hung out in their like front living room. I just sat on the floor, and it was on the 4th of July. It was the morning of the 4th, and I was helping him to set up MyFitnessPal app and like track his food, his calories and stuff, because he does pretty good with the working out and stuff. And he asked me, he's like, "Can you help me just like get this dialed in?" It's like, "Yeah, I can do that." So that he invited me up to the house, and I was already kind of hesitant to do it because I was like, there are other people that live here, and I just felt like it was an invasion of space. And so I went up there, and we just stayed in that front room, and I helped him out with that, and got him all set up with that. And then, he asked me if I wanted lunch, and he grilled chicken and carrots. And then that's all he had. And I was like, okay, so we ate, and then I left. And then there was another day about, I can give you the date-ish. Let me look at a calendar. I think it was the weekend after my birthday.
Just a thing on the courtesy for the phone for, what was that guy's name, Don?
This gentleman,
Oh.
Thornton PD. I just met him today. Do you want to do the phone
I forgot
today?
about that.
For TPD?
It's not for them. They're doing it for us.
Yes.
We don't have the equipment with us to do it, and I asked them to do it for us. They're not involved in this investigation. He would just be a computer person. He would not be looking at any of this stuff. That would fall to myself. So keep that in mind. He's not involved in this investigation. Thornton PD has nothing to do with this, other than letting us use their facility and helping us with some electronic download. He's not going to look at your phone right now. He's going to put it on a disk, and they're going to give it to me.
Gotcha. I don't know. What do you think? I really want to help you guys. I
That's
do. I
absolutely.
feel like this whole thing is just going to be crazy regardless of whether I give you my phone or not. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen.
Well, the text
Media's just
reiterate
gonna-
what you've been saying all along, so it's not like...
Well, they do. That's the other thing, too. I mean, that's kind of a good backup. Yeah, I'll give
I
it
think
to 'em.
you hit the nail right on the head. There's reasons why we want everything. it validates things that we know. I'm not going to come out and tell you that if you tell me something today, we'll validate it with your text messages, whether it's the ones we have now or the ones you're going to give us.
I'll give
Certainly.
it to him. If you want to go get him.
I want you to read this, is what I want you to do before you decide that, okay?
So the second time I went to that house, I'm not sure what day it was, but it was the weekend of the 14th.
Of August?
July. I don't know if it was the 14th or the 15th. One of those 2 days. But we had went out and we stopped there just real quick on the way back. And we were there not very long. But that time I saw a picture of his wife and one of his kids. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I like took a step back and I was just like, this man has a gorgeous house. He has beautiful babies. He has a beautiful wife. He has an awesome job. Like, why would he want to leave this? And I remember talking to him about it, and that was the first time that I tried to actually say, what do you think about not separating from your wife? Like, what if you really try to work on this? And he had expressed to me that we've tried to work on this, and it's not working, so that is why we're separating. And I spent some time, like, just, you know, kind of, because it almost made me feel bad, where I was, like, to the point where I'm engaging in a relationship with a man who, the way he described it, is in a contractual agreement, but was not in, like, an emotional relationship with somebody. And for me, the way I would have preferred to do this is to have waited till that contractual agreement was also done, and he was done, and he could have approached me and said, I'm just had a divorce, you know, maybe we could take this slow, what do you think? But instead it was, oh, we're separated and we're working on a divorce. And that is the part that I feel bad about, because I should have waited on that and I didn't. And, you know, I was just like, well, they're already there. So, you know, but then being in a house, I was just like, why? Fix this. Find a way to fix this. Make it work, you know? And I was like trying to push him to do it, and he seemed pretty reluctant to do it. He didn't want to. And, I don't know, we were still seeing each other fairly frequently, but I kind of like backed away so we weren't hanging out quite as much, and we were still close, but it was just, like, I really wanted him to try. Like, I wanted to know that he tried and it didn't work, and then he moved on, not that, you know, they both kind of tried and then he got himself into a situation with somebody else. And I don't know, I just thought he had a beautiful life going on, and he could have made it work. That was the way I looked at it from the outside.
So is this something you reflected on since this event, or was this you?
No, I was doing it then. Like,
you said, this doesn't look right. He's kind of, I don't want to be responsible for breaking up a marriage, especially with 2 children. Is that kind of the gist I'm getting here?
I didn't think it didn't look right. I mean, I think he was legitimately sleeping in the basement, and I didn't think that these two were. I mean, I think it was like, hey, we're both stuck in this house for now. We got to sell this. In the meantime, you live here, I live here. We sleep in different rooms, take care of the kids. That's just like kind of how I took that. And no, I didn't think it didn't look right. I just thought it just seemed like he had so much going on, and it was just beautiful that I was like, why don't you just try this out, you know, and see if you can fix it. And he'd always be like, well, what about us? What about us? I'm like, don't worry about us. Like, that is more important. Like, try to see if you can, like, salvage whatever it is that you have going on with your wife. And you know, I always got the impression that he was a great father to his kids, like, always. And so, you know, I was like, and be the dad that you want to be. I was like, and see if you can make it work. And he just, like, we kind of talked about it off and on for, like, a few weeks. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I think I was kind of, like, cold feeting about it after I went over his house. And so this was, like, pretty early on. And then he told me that, he went to North Carolina. And he was like, I'm going to talk to her when I'm in North Carolina and see if I can get her to do this, to like try to like rekindle the flame.
Okay, so try to salvage his relationship as you've been asking him
Yes,
to do.
and then if he
When
decided,
did you go to North Carolina?
I think it was like the last week of July, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So I mean, this was like a couple weeks that I was just kind of like trying to push him to do that.
Let's pause at North Carolina, and we'll come back to that real quick. I want you to read this. If you don't understand what it means, then ask me the question. But basically what it says is you have the right not to let me look at your phone. I'm asking to look at your phone for the purposes we previously discussed, for the text messages and your phone log, and unfortunately the photos that are attached therein too. That information is only relative to this investigation. I'm not looking at anything else except for the conversations between you and Chris Watts, and the phone data between you and Chris Watts for phone calls, for times and dates for those phone calls. And then the content of the text messages that are there. And we'll write that specifically down here. Understand
I
that
just don't want anybody to get some of those texts. Like, they have nothing to do with this case, and they're just like,
between you and Chris?
yes, they're just
So just tell me what you're...
they're just kind of raunchy. Like,
Okay,
I
well,
don't need anybody.
everybody's
I
an
don't
adult.
Need that posted, like,
We're not going to
somewhere.
post it.
I don't want the newspapers to get that. That's all I want.
The
I just
only
need
ones
them
that
to
we would
not
be
get
looking
that.
for, again, is the same kind of questions we're getting to here, is things about his children, things about
Understood.
his wife, the
Understood.
questioning of, did he ever, has he ever said something to you that might indicate, maybe not then, but now, that there was something like this in his mind? Or you know what we're looking for. I don't need to come out and tell you that. I understand the embarrassment of particular photos or potential sexual types of conversations you may have had with Chris. It's not relative to the investigation. We don't care. Okay, you're an adult. I'm an adult. Everybody in this room, even your dad, and I give it to you for saying that stuff in front of your dad, because I'm not sure many women could do that. So that's not what we're after. We're after the information that corroborates things that you've told us, and also that corroborates or may tend to prove that things that Chris told us were a lie. You understand that? And that's maybe going a little bit far. I usually won't tell people that, but because of your reservations, that's what I'm looking for. If I can disprove something he's told me by a phone record, phone records don't lie. People do. Okay? So if I can disprove something that may be important, that's what I need it for. I'm not saying I can. Has it happened before? Absolutely. Is it critical in cases that I've worked in the past? Yes. So that's why I want it. Okay? Again, you don't have to give it to me. You can tell me, I don't want you to have it. Go get a warrant. I'm not even going to tell you if I go try to get a warrant right now. I'm just asking for you to consent. And again, we can write right here what you're willing to give me, which is the text messages and the phone log. And unfortunately, again, the attachments on some of those text messages. And I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Do you have questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
He will. Thank you.
that's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
She hadn't been
back up.
feeling good. Not because of any, just,
Like, I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case, because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what you're willing to provide
is
to
that,
me, and we'll
is
write
that
it
good
on.
enough?
I just want, like, our text conversation, and then, I guess, our phone call records.
So I'm going to put...
So the time and date of the phone call records, and then our text message.
Could we
text.
get photos of him?
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
Off of
Would
that?
you mind if we got his photos that he sent to you?
Oh, well, they'll be in that text message thing.
So all his photos were sent. There was no apps or anything else used
No,
that you
no,
guys
no,
were
no,
sending.
no,
It was
no.
all just text messages.
Yeah,
Okay. So it'd be an attachment to a text that he sent you.
pretty much.
But
Everything is in the text and the phone call records.
so
Like, all of it.
because we don't have it on tape, we discussed prior to turning the tape on Tuesday, which would have been the 14th of August. You had read some newspaper articles on the 13th and the 14th that regarded this case. You had also had a conversation with Chris at some point during the day on Monday. And on Tuesday, because of what you found, specifically what you said was, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but you found out that his wife was pregnant.
And yes.
And you did not know that prior. And you found that out via the newspaper articles, and that caused you concern.
Well, I just realized that he was lying to me, and I was like, well, if you can lie to me about this, what else are you lying to me about? And it made me realize that maybe his wife was in danger at that point, and it was day two, and she still wasn't home.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what, when I deleted those?
Yeah.
I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you you already said, but you removed text messages.
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it, and then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward.
Yes.
Okay. So just for context,
Yes.
when people delete stuff off phones, usually we go,
No,
hold on a
no,
second.
no, no. It
And
wasn't
that's why I wanted-
malicious at
right.
all. It
And I'm
wasn't
not saying it's
malicious at
malicious,
all. He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean,
Right.
telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him. That's literally what I did. I just cut him out of my life. It would have honestly been like a bad breakup kind of thing. Like, if none of this other stuff would have happened, that's what it would have been. That would have been the end of it.
The information was not destroyed because there was anything in there that would be harmful to you or potentially to Chris at this point, but harmful to you in particular. That's not why you did it.
No.
You did it out of, excuse my language, this guy's an asshole, so I'm getting rid of him, and I'm getting this stuff off my phone.
That was like me kicking him out of my life.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and then realizing that he lied, that was when I was like, okay, maybe his family is in danger and they're not coming back and they're not staying with a friend.
Yeah, when did I go over there? Tuesday morning?
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday.
I called you Wednesday morning.
That's when we started discussing you guys need to get everything that it just...
You can understand the importance of,
Oh, no question. We were...
like I said, people lie, phone records don't, and they really help specifically establish dates and times. I think we have a very good grip on that in this case already, but there may be a time when we go, we need to know something else, and then we would have it. We don't want to lose it, and that's really what it is for us, is if we lose information that later on we go, man, I wish we would have got that. And we may never even use these. We may never even look at them. But if we have it now, then we don't worry about losing it. So I appreciate you being cooperative and giving it to us.
Yeah.
So the first thing I wrote was text messages between Chris Watts and attachments. Okay? So, because we're talking about the photographs, unfortunately, that cause you much disdain. And then I am going to put phone log for calls between yourself and Chris Watts. your phone number is 720.
656 9605.
And this right now is located we're at the Thornton Police Department. It's going to be moved to so this is kind of, doesn't make sense, but we're here. It's going to be moved to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. He's going to download it here, but I'm going to take it with me, just so you know. It's not staying here.
Okay.
They're not going to retain any of this. This comes with me.
Okay.
Okay?
Is there anything else you want on there? I think that's about.
That's it. I mean, I don't have social media. I don't really have anything else you guys can pull.
Okay.
Is there anything else you know of that could help us with this that is not on this sheet?
As far as like data,
That's on your phone?
no. I mean, everything we did was like text and talk, pretty much. I mean, and like I said, any pictures that I had, like even if you were to restore all my regular photos, there's so many pictures in there, and you wouldn't even know which ones were for him and which ones weren't. But any picture that I wanted to send to him, I sent via text. So if you guys go through the text and the attachments, you will have everything that wasn't said verbally and was done via text. But I think that's it. Like I don't have anything else. As far as like no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, no LinkedIn, like none of it. So there was never any of that kind of correspondence. So I think that should probably cover everything you guys will need.
Is there any particular messages that would help me so I don't have to look at? Because whatever's on your phone, I don't know how long we're going to get back to, but let's say is there a particular date or time or message that stands out to you that would be relative to, specifically to the investigation into this case, that might assist me in understanding why something like this could have occurred?
I'm still in shock that this whole thing happened.
I
Like
can imagine.
That's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt for the first day, because I was just like, no way. Like I didn't even think about that. I mean, murder was not on the top of my mind when somebody doesn't come home for an evening, especially if they just like had some sort of like heated conversation. It's like, okay, you guys are separating, you have a heated conversation, you leave for a night. Like I didn't even think this guy killed his wife. I mean, that like murder is on something on the top of my mind when I call one of my friends for 3 or 4 hours and she doesn't answer the phone. Like that doesn't even process to me as like a real thing that is a possibility at that point. And so that's why I gave it a day, and then the second day I was talking to him, he was just like a hot mess, I could tell. And then with like the way he was talking to me, and then that's kind of when I cut him off and I stopped talking to him. And then...
So remember what you just said, and we're going to get to that because that's probably a very important conversation.
So if you want to know days, I would probably honestly just start at like Sunday and work your way forward. I mean, all the rest of that stuff, it's just like the small talk of like, hey, this, you know? I mean...
And your relationship building through the...
Yeah, I mean, like, and if you go like maybe like a week further back, like there's times like I was trying to help him find an apartment, like just for him, not for me, but for him and his kids. To get set up, and like there's times where I'm like, well, where's your wife moving to? Like, how close is she gonna be to you? You should be within like 30 minutes of your kids, so they're close, and like you want to be close to their school and close to your gym, and like what's your price range? Like I was helping him get all of this stuff set up, and it was like in a very decent manner. And I don't know if all of that is in text. Some of it's probably on the phone. Like at this point, I've talked to him so much that I don't even know which parts are like verbalized and which parts are texted at this point, but we can figure it out.
Okay. You see what I wrote? Text messages between Chris Watts and attachments, and then the phone logs for calls between your phone number and Chris Watts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two things that we'll ask to be extracted from your phone. So if you're okay with that.
Why does it say items removed? Cell phone data. Isn't that this?
That is that, and that's what he's going to remove, and then that officer is going to fill that out.
Gotcha. What is the date? I don't even know what
Today is the 16th.
You want to add anything to this?
If you give us your phone, we'll get him started.
Yeah, we want to give you everything, but we also want to be protected in doing so. Is more of the...
Sure.
was more the thing. It's just,
And when he's done, we'll give you a copy
Is there a
of this.
password or anything? Like, will it lock up after a
Yeah.
period of time?
Yeah.
Right here.
that's what it knows. And
Make sure there's nothing written on the back.
There's not. I checked before I read it off.
Let's go back to North Carolina.
Okay.
He went to North Carolina and he was trying to rehab his marriage with his wife.
He
Do
said.
you
he
know
was-
her name at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay saying her name?
It's Shanann.
All right. And do you know the children's name?
Yes, it's Bella and Celeste.
Okay.
Cece.
She went by, they called her Cece.
Mhm.
All right. So he went to, were they in North Carolina
They were already
already?
there.
If you want something.
I don't know if my stomach will do that. Yeah, they were already out there. He just flew out there to meet up.
Do you know why they were there?
They're all from there.
Okay, so they were there
They
for...
were visiting her family for the most part until he got there, and then they still were mostly visiting her family.
Okay. Hey, do you know how long they had been there?
A while, like weeks.
All right. And he flew out to join his family there.
Yep.
Did you know specifically where he flew to?
What airport?
No, what city?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm sure if I thought real hard, maybe I could think about it, but I mean, come up with it. No, I don't know.
All right. So he goes there. You said it was like the last week of July?
I think so. I think it was like one of the last days of July. I'm almost positive. I think it was a weekday.
Okay.
Yeah, he flew out there, and I thought I had like convinced him to like try to make peace with her, and I was like, if you guys work on this, like, I'm out. Because what's the point? Like, I'm not trying to be with somebody that's in another relationship, which I know that sounds silly given the whole relationship that we had in the first place, but I really was under the impression that they were separating. I mean, it was like reiterated to me so many times that that's what I thought it was. And it made sense to me too because, like, he could pretty much call me whenever he wanted. Like, I was the one that would tell him, like, hey, when your kids are awake, you need to spend time with your kids. Like, do that. And then after they go to bed, like, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. But it was never like this super, super restricted thing. Like, sometimes, like, right after work, if I was, like, still talking to him, I'd get kind of bummed out. And I tell him, just like, oh, it's frustrating sometimes, like, having to, like, wait. But at the same time, I was never like, this is horrible, or, it was always like, I understood why. But then once his kids were asleep, he never, like, had any... It was like he could do what he wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
He was in his basement, and she's upstairs, and they're not speaking. So it kind of made sense. It wasn't like...
And you guys are
sneaky
just
at night.
texting and...
Or talking or whatever,
Right.
I mean, and it was like I said, it was at certain times, but that time, and originally it wasn't, but it was me that put that time frame on there because I thought he should hang out with his kids.
Those 2 times you were at his house, did you see any evidence of that? Him living in the basement? Did he ever show you that area or anything?
I've seen it, yeah, I went down there and saw his little workout equipment, and there's a bed down there all set up in the basement. It was all clean and organized and stuff, so... like a decent bed set up, so it made sense to me. Like, hey, this is what's happening down here. So I saw it.
Even though his family was in North Carolina for multiple weeks, it appeared that he was still living in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he told me sometimes he would like go upstairs and sleep if like he was home alone, because I know she'd like go on business trips and stuff. But he's like, I don't like that bed anyway, so he didn't really like sleep up there. I was like, okay. Even when it was just him. So
Okay.
that was the impression that I got. I don't know what you're talking about. North Carolina.
Go back to North
So,
Carolina.
North Carolina. So he still made very frequent communication with me when he was out there.